rate, I'm Cindy Kelly, president and founder of the Atomic Heritage Foundation, and I couldn't do it without you. This is a great collaborative effort over the last 15 years to establish a Manhattan Project National Historical Park and to create an archive of nearly 300 oral histories and create such a community that will be here now and for decades to come to remember and preserve this history. I want to start first by thanking all our sponsors. We're a little late starting because Citibank put a hold on all our credit cards. We tried to charge that money to that we owe to Whole Foods, and they wouldn't let us, and you would be hungry by noon if we didn't get the hold lifted so you could enjoy some lunch. But at any rate, we wouldn't have any money in our account if it were not for the generosity of so many people here today. Our biggest sponsors, you always start at the top, right? We have an outstanding contribution from the Oak Ridge contractors, $25,000 that would not have been possible without our secret agent at Oak Ridge, who took it upon himself to see, well, wait a minute, Oak Ridge should contribute. So thank you, Ray Smith, our secret agent, not so secret, but to those who did respond to Ray's call, Consolidated Nuclear Security, Oak Ridge Associated Universities, OARU, UT, or University of Tennessee, Battelle, and UCOR. We also received generous donations from Bechtel, and Bob DeGrasse is here. Thank you, Bob, for your help. And from the Nuclear Threat Initiative. Individuals who contributed $10,000 include John Now, former chairman of the Advisory Council for Historic Preservation. And as he was the chair in the 90s during a critical time, we are doubly grateful to him and his passionate interest in this history. Also, Clay and Dorothy Perkins, whose generosity knows no bounds when it comes to the Manhattan Project. They not only contributed for this event, but they have purchased the so-called Beta House after Hans Bethe in Los Alamos. It's next door to the Oppenheimer House, which was donated by its current owner to the Los Alamos Historical Society. And now visitors to Los Alamos will be able to see both houses on that row called Bathtub Row, the 7 cottages that the only ones at Los Alamos to have a bathtub. And so they were reserved for the top echelon of the scientists and military leaders there. So they are very, very important in this preservation effort. And also James Shoki, who spoke yesterday, and he has been a past board member of a previous organization, Manhattan Project Heritage and Preservation Association, that was run for years by Michael Vicchio. I mean, I know many in this room knew Michael. Sorry, now my signal is to speak up, sorry. I just was saying Jim Shoki was involved along with Larry O'Rourke and others in a sort of early effort to preserve the Manhattan Project history that was run by Michael Vicchio. And sadly, he died in 2005, and the board asked the Atomic Heritage Foundation to take over its mission, which 10 years later, we're happy to say, we have finally been able to migrate all of the rich information he had on his website to our website. And so you now have one place to go to find out about the Manhattan Project and profiles of the participants. We have 2,000 profiles up. You have to look on our site. It's really quite wonderful. We can put all sorts of documents on an individual site, so your ration cards and your badges and letters can all be included in your profile. Any rate, we're working on it. We hope to have 10,000. so that the future visitors to the national parks can say, now what did great Uncle James do and where was he? And can look that up. That would be a great treat. And they're all linked to our oral histories. So if we have a history, an oral history of one of those participants, it will link to that. And let's see, finally, I have a few more thank yous. The next group is Laurence Overook, who was in the front row and one of our participants yesterday. Daryl and Catherine Dvorak, Dieter Gruen, and Watson C. Warner Sr., and they all contributed $1,000 or more. We are also grateful to the many, many who contributed $250,000, $500, too many to enumerate here, but every bit helps. We are a nonprofit and depend on your support. Thank you. So 20 years ago, when I first joined the Department of Energy and became interested in saving some of the properties and artifacts of the Manhattan Project, few people thought this was a good idea, thought that the history was worth preserving. The mandate from Congress was to clean them up, demolish them, D&D. Demolition was the word. And they were slated to be destroyed. But gradually, with the help of the Advisory Council for Historic Preservation and historians such as Richard Rhodes and Stan Norris and others who have been on the program or will be this afternoon, we were able to gain greater national visibility and support for the program. And a key part of this, the players were the congressional leaders from those 3 states. Way back when, it was from New Mexico, Jeff Bingaman, who stood on this stage in 2002 and told some wonderful stories. It's Senator Pete Domenici. The two of them were ardent in their support in the early years. And in 2004, Congress passed legislation that would have the Park Service study whether it was feasible and suitable to have a Manhattan Project National Historical Park. And just this last December, Congress came through with the designation. So just 10 years to the day almost, we were able to get this legislation through and are deeply grateful to our bipartisan, bicameral coalition. So I wanted to also mention, just thinking ahead, we have had a little rump group early yesterday morning to kind of think through steps on how we might proceed with a national traveling exhibit on the Manhattan Project. This would complement efforts to interpret the history in the 3 sites at Los Alamos, Oak Ridge, and Hanford, and bring more visibility to the project to places like Boston and Atlanta, San Francisco, Fort Worth, Dallas, and so forth, and mine the rich scientific and technology aspects of the history, the personalities and the people who were a part of it, and tell the story that is so relevant to today. So that's the next on our agenda. And if you'd like to know more, please keep in touch with us. You can please be a member of our newsletter. You can sign up online. We have monthly newsletters. We don't try to bombard you with too much information, but you can also follow us and like us on Facebook and Twitter.